Hi, I'm Summer McStravick, and welcome to Money Intuition. We're here to explore the minds and thinking of some really successful women who've used both their intuition and their know-how to create sustainable, financially abundant, self-created lives. I'm excited today. I have Tera Maxwell, and you're a bit of everything, Tera, but let me get through my list here first. She's an energy specialist. She took away my headache one day using her energy clearing, so I can vouch. She's a mother, she's a wife, she's an entrepreneur, she's an affluence coach, and she has a PhD, actually, to top it all off. She specializes in using energy work to clear people's blocks and, to help them discover their true purpose and unleash the wealth in their life. This is why Tera, I think, is such a great fit for this series. And now that I'm not talking about you in third person, this is why Tera, right here, our Tera.
Yes.
Welcome to the series. Thank you for coming.
So, I'm really excited to be here. I love this topic of money intuition.
Oh, good. So let's start with your journey. Where were you, 10 or 15 years ago? Because I know you didn't always do this, and you led yourself here, and that's partly what I'm asking people about their path. So what was your life like 10, 15 years ago?
Ooh, 15 years ago. Mm. Now that really going back, I often say, I'm a PhD, I'm an affluence coach, energy healer, and I spent my 20s as a stripper.
Ooh.
And so part of what we're going to talk about today, and I want to share with you, that story about these money blocks and really played out in my life. In fact, just before we were on this interview, I was thinking about my own cycle with spending and credit card debt and stripping. And it occurred to me it was so much like bulimia. That same kind of like purging and eating and then purging.
Doing it all over again.
Yeah, and so it was just this vicious cycle. And I'm really passionate about, during that time I was living beneath my potential, and I was in so much fear and not feeling enough. I sobered up, I went back to school, and I went back to more school, got my bachelor's, my master's, went on to get my PhD. And even during that journey, I still had that shame, that feeling of not enough. It was like if I could just get another degree, that, if I would be okay.
You'd redeem yourself.
I would redeem myself.
Yeah.
And so it's like it really hasn't been until I really stepped into my power as an affluence coach and as a leader and serving clients that I really came out with my little secret in my past.
Oh yeah. I know.
So that was back then, but after I had finished graduate school, I went on the job market. I wanted to be a professor. I studied English literature. I really specialized in generational trauma and healing, so that kind of connected with my energy work. I went on the market, really worked hard to become to get a position as a tenure track position as a professor. And when I received those rejection notices that next semester, I felt relief. And I know there was something that Martha Beck would share. I think she talks about like following your North Star. Yeah. And she says this metaphor that really stuck with me: shackles on and shackles off. If you ever want to know if this is the right decision or not. And the truth is, for me, being a professor felt like shackles on. And I realized that my desire to be a professor was really about getting validation from my family, because it was a respectable job. And an energy healer, or like, what is it that you do? It was a little scarier. Yeah. But it was that moment that I really felt peace, and that this is really, I understood that I needed to choose a path that really resonated with who I am and sharing my gifts, and not about what other people, their validation or their approval.
Yeah. It's interesting. I hear from so many people who feel the exact same way. They're pursuing paths in academia or, even in cubicle land or in corporate land. And a lot of it is because they want to make their family proud. They want to appear respectable. They're afraid to leave because, they fear that it's the only continuous source of income out there. And I've recognized over time that's a model that we pick up. It's just a model. It's one of many models. It happens to be a dominant model, but there are others you can follow that are equally valid. And you're a fantastic example of that, because you were sitting there thinking this or that, shackles on or shackles off. So when you made the decision to go into this work, what happened for you? Were you using your intuition? Were you frantic and scared? What?
I was using my intuition. I mean, I'm an energy healer, so I knew that this is what I was supposed to do. But I have to say that I was a little naive. I thought you just open a business and then clients just start pouring in.
Yeah.
And that wasn't my experience my first year.
Mm-hmm.
I was having clients, but not enough to have a sustainable income. But I had written down my vision. So I love to write vision statements, and at the time I'm so grateful for thriving private practice, serving 10 clients a week, booked 6 weeks out in advance. And then I had a lot of other things that I wanted to create. And I was aligning with that energetically every day and clearing whatever was in the way. And I think the next month I had the opportunity to hear my current business coach share, and I was on the phone call with her, and she kind of laid out, well, exactly how I could attain my vision. And so that's when I really took that leap. Yeah. And so there's really so many of us, we say this is what we want to create, let me back up there for a second, and it's important to take that leap.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you made the decision, and then you noticed that the tools started just being kind of put in front of you. Mm-hmm. Right? Essentially, you got the business tools, you got this, you that, and then you just began practicing.
You just take the leap. And for me, one of the signals for me, and I don't know, for my intuition, is that when I'm presented with an opportunity or a direction to go, when I feel fear with that mixture of excitement, and that's how I felt, that's actually a good sign that that's where I'm supposed to go. In our family, we say fear means go.
Fear means go. I love it. You have these great phrases. Okay, shackles on, shackles off. Fear means go. I'm going to change the whole name of your talk if you're not careful. I agree. Fear means go for me too. And I'd love, talk more about that, because usually people think that fear is a warning. Fear means stop. Why is that not true for you?
Because, well, first of all, I have past evidence. Every time I felt that fear, I'm not talking about the fear when, you're in danger. I mean, sometimes we get those signals. I'm talking about the fear when you have that little excitement too. Mm-hmm. When you have the butterflies in your stomach, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have any idea how this is going to turn out. That is that kind of vibration that you're like, okay, I'm completely terrified. And it's usually where we feel resistance. It might feel hard.
Yeah.
You don't really, yeah.
It truly is a different kind of fear. And that's something that you can learn to, sense the more that you encounter it, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
And then each time you do it, then you see, what unfolds. I mean, I always notice that once you break through that fear, there's a huge reward on the other side.
So this leads me to think about, fear leads to blocks. And I know that you have some pretty powerful things to say about money blocks. And people always want to know, where's my money block? As if there is some giant truck that they, invisible truck in their life that's blocking the alley, of them moving forward. Yeah. What are those money blocks? How do you approach that idea?
Yeah, what I've seen in my own life and working with many clients is there's two money blocks that are kind of the core. And the first is that belief, I am not enough. And it's that kind of doubt and fear that it casts a pall on our self-worth. Because it's really all about, aligning with, I am worth it. I believe in myself. Mm-hmm. And there's this quote, and I'm sure you've heard of it, with Stephen Pressfield. He says, there's the life we live, and there's the unlived life. And between the two lies resistance. And so it's it's like taking that leap, right? And I've just noticed, you know, I mean, I shared that a little bit about that belief that I am not enough. It can drive so many of our behaviors, right? And whether it's, you know, we're procrastinating or it's perfectionism,
right?
it comes up on the other side. And the interesting thing is that you clear it and it's gone. I mean, whatever that one little, you know, why you have that at that root of that I am not enough, you know, I clear it, but it comes up each time we up level, because we're here to grow, we're here to progress. And so you're like, okay, I'm confident, I believe in myself. And then you have an opportunity to speak at an event, or even just going to a party with some people that maybe they're not, you know, you don't know everyone.
Yeah.
And that feeling comes up again.
Yeah.
And so there's little, those little angles of opportunities to see what else we need to clear and release. Because I believe that when we're born, we are just this beautiful operating system, to use the computer metaphor. And, you know, like we both have children. My youngest, you know, she's 3. And if I tell her, you're amazing, you're beautiful, she'll be like, yes, I'm beautiful, I'm amazing. And we have that sense. And then somewhere along the line, we get this programming and these viruses that tell us, I'm not enough. Mm-hmm. And so that's part of that journey, is to release that block and really step into the truth of, you know, that I am enough.
I'm going to go back a couple seconds to when you were saying, it caught me. Yeah. That you said some people, they say, I'm a procrastinator, I'm a perfectionist, and you were identifying those as symptoms, not primary problems. Mm-hmm. And that fascinates me, because I'm always, too, looking for the root of things. And it's so true. If you are procrastinating, it's not that you're a procrastinator. It's that there's something in you that's pushing you to procrastinate. And that is what you're identifying, I'm not enough. Yeah. Or same with perfection, you know, prevents you from doing it because I'm not going to be good enough. I'm not going to hit that perfect place inside myself. That's great. Yeah. I like that.
Or you try to overcompensate by making it so perfect, because at the core, and that you feel like I'm not enough. And the interesting thing is that our society, we reward perfectionists.
Yes.
Right. If you're a straight A student, and you know, I was in that kind of being a good student in school, and so I didn't realize until recently that being a perfectionist was really a character defect.
Yeah, holding you back. Being a perfectionist is a character defect. Okay, that's another name that I'm going to give this interview. All of these would get me to watch this.
We wear it as a badge of honor. Usually, you're like, "Oh, I'm a perfectionist."
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I'm a Virgo, so I mean, I very much know that, and it's true. I have to continually say, it's good enough for now. It's good enough for now. See what happens next.
Yeah.
So what is the other big block that you see inside people when it comes to them relating to their money or finances, or how much they can receive into their life?
Yeah, I mean, the second one is that belief that there is never enough. And so at the core is that feeling of lack or scarcity. And what's interesting is both of these blocks is that you can feel like you have the money piece, you know, even if, you know, you're creating all this abundance, it can come up in whether it's like showing up with friendships, or, you know, that belief that there is never enough, it can come up in a heart feeling about time.
Right? I think you just found mine.
So it's that scarcity. It's like, okay, how am I going to manage this? Also, and it's still that belief in scarcity instead of, and so, or you know, if we're feeling, you know, you have a colleague's successes, or you know, if there's that twinge of jealousy or something, then it's that belief, well, there's never enough. Like, well, someone else's success is somehow going to take away my opportunity. Right. To be successful. So there's a little opportunities to see what we need to clear and to identify where those blocks are.
Yeah. So this feeling of there not being enough, I mean, it really sets up a sense of competition, which I could see then will trigger the feeling in you of I'm not good enough. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like it's a 1-2 punch, right?
Yeah. They're both together.
Yeah, they are.
And that energy for so many years.
Yeah.
It's so it's really it's so empowering to be able to step out of that and clear it, and then
Right.
then you still can see it in other little areas, and then identify.
So how do you keep mentioning clearing, and I want to know, how do you clear it, or is this something you teach people, or you do, or what is that?
Yeah, it's something I do. I mean, I could teach you a quick little clearing way I clear it.
Like what you did to my headache, right?
Yeah, so like, okay, let's say we were to say, connecting with you, with me, and anyone that's showing up for this video throughout all time and space.
Okay.
And one way to clear is you just take your hand and you bring it up your chakras, or bring up your body from your pelvis up, and then to the back of your head,
Up and over.
and then to the side.
Okay.
And so let's say you're to say, I am enough. I am more than enough. I give myself permission to be enough. There is enough. I'm living in the flow of abundance. I'm open to receiving abundance, to receiving affluence, to receiving all that the universe has to give me. So if there's any weakness in those statements, like your body, if for anyone on the call, if you're feeling like, you might register in your stomach, or that's just a little twinge, like that's not true for me.
Yeah.
So you just clear it.
Okay.
And
so you notice if the rejection comes up. Right.
Yeah, just clear it. And then you can actually clear it again, because sometimes what I do is, and this is the technique, I use other techniques too, but this is a great way just to be empowered, to do it again. So just breathe, I am enough. I am more than enough. And then, and you clear it until you feel your energy shift, until that feels true for you.
Until it feels true and right.
Yeah.
And then you recognize, because you were saying, when you clear a block, you're clearing it at the level you're at. Then as you sort of gain experience and you grow, you may encounter it again at the next level. It's like a different layer of it. And then you would go through that again a month or a year down the road.
Yes.
Okay. I see how that works.
Exactly.
So, let's see. I have so many questions to ask you. Which ones do I go to? I'm going to check my notes here. Because I want to know, you have, I have too many questions for you, Tera. If you were to do something a little differently in your life, if you could roll back in relation to your money and your wealth and your ability to just go for your life like you have, what do you think you would have done earlier?
I probably would have skipped the 20s.
I guess that's an obvious question, right?
and yes, I mean, all the things that we do, it makes us who we are, and I'm grateful for those experiences. But I spent so many years in self-sabotage.
Yeah.
And I also had a really bad eating disorder all throughout those years, and just in that loathing and being disconnected from my body. And I think if I really knew just how much love there is for just being connected to that love, and just all those false beliefs, that whatever those false beliefs were that drove those behaviors, and those stories, for any of you that you think about the stories in your childhood. I had these stories that I just believed and just circulated, and then I chose all these behaviors to act out because of those stories, and to just realize that they're just stories.
How do you wake up to those stories? It's like, this is always a question I've had, and I mean, I work very hard to wake up to my own stories, because beliefs are invisible nets within you that just run you. And very rarely do you get to peek inside and see what that code is that's running the external system, to use the computer thing again. Is that something that you work with people, or how do you?
I do.
How do you work
I
with
do.
that?
Well, I'm a wordsmith, so I use affirmations to find out where your blocks are.
Okay.
And so, if you say, I'm worthy, like just to give an example, I'll work with clients who say, I attract my ideal client. My program is full. I'm so excited, whatever it is that they want to create. And let's say they resonate with it, right? But then you can find a block. I'm open to receiving these wonderful clients, and they'll be blocked there.
Ooh. So they find their ideal client, but they just can't receive them in.
No,
oh, yes, I see.
Worthy, or give myself permission to step into my success. Like they might feel like, oh, I'm one success after another success, but it's interesting how you can say it. There's a nuance that brings up a little, like, just little negative energy that says, oh, I'm not really worthy. And those are the kind of things that drive, whether it's, self-sabotage on a really, a bigger level. But you can find those and clear those. So I'd almost say, well, every weakness is also a strength, right? And so I was always very what's the word? I want to say anal, but just really like meticulous about that perfectionism, right?
Yeah.
But you can take statements and really find what is the root of it. I mean, I do that work on myself daily and with my clients, really trying to find, like, if they're not creating, they're not seeing what they want to create. If it's not showing up in their life, let's get to the root of it and pull out those weeds because they're not true.
Right. I see a lot of people like that too. I know many people, even friends I have, and they're saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my life. I'm trapped in a career, and I don't believe that I can transition. I don't believe I could reach the same level of success elsewhere. Or I've been trying to be successful for 10 years, and it's like life is against me. And these are all
those.
Yeah.
The thing is, with energy work, what happens is that you remove the charge from those stories.
Yeah.
So after you release the charge, like I'll have clients say, like, let's say you're in a relationship. You've been in a long-term relationship, and you always have that same kind of, if you ever get in a fight, it's the same kind of fight.
Yes.
And it's really not about what happened. It's like every other time, and when my dad, or people didn't listen to me or whatever. So you're having all that other energy in this one situation. And, a client would tell me, it's like I'm standing outside my own story, because you have those beliefs, but they don't have that same grip on you anymore.
Right.
And so that's where you're in the position to choose. So it just doesn't have that same power. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I see that. I felt that. I think everybody has at one point or another. It's a matter of just remembering it and saying, oh, that's what I'm going for now. That feeling, that sensation.
Yeah.
So Tera, I can't believe how fast it's going. I think I have one or two more questions for you.
Okay.
I know that you have an activator tool. Did we already cover that? Like how you shift to raise your financial set point, how much you really think that you can have in your life?
Yeah. I'll share another tool with you.
Okay.
So Tony Robbins talks about this in Awakening the Giant Within. He talks about the power of asking questions to shift your energy or shift your mindset. And Noah St. John, he calls them affirmations. Yeah. And he has a book that, he really goes into detail. And my word for it is visioning cues. Like when you take affirmations and you ask them as a question, but they're also a cue. And what I found, and this is something Noah St. John doesn't emphasize, it really shifts your energy. I mean, I can test it. So when you say an affirmation like a question, like let's say, maybe you have many of you are, if you're coaches or consultants, or if you have a practice, maybe use a different example, but I know some people have resistance about strategy calls or like picking up the phone. So if you start, why am I so excited to pick up the phone? Why am I attracting clients wherever I go? Why do I love my life? What happens is, I'll give you another example. Why am I such a good mother? or partner?
Why am I so patient with my children?
Yeah. And the funny thing is when you ask that question, it catches your subconscious in the act. Because usually there's another program, like if you say, why does my life flow so easily and so gracefully? And why do I live such a charmed life? For some, you might actually have the program, why is my life so hard? Or why am I not such a good mother? Or whatever. And so then you continue to create those opportunities to reflect that back, right? That you need to clear it. Yeah. And so those visioning cues not only help you find those false programs so you can change them, but they shift your energy. Okay. And I mean, I've done it, whenever you have something that you're not so excited about, use those and feel your energy shift, and you'll step into the power of that excitement and inspiration.
I love it. I love any tool that makes you step into your power.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tera. So people can find more about you by, of course, going to your website, which I believe is teramaxwell.com. You should see that on your screen there. But you have something for people too. You wanted to sort of give them as a taste of what you do, another way to, something free that people can use to help themselves. What is that?
Yes. Okay, so there's a 3-part video series. It's called Change Your Money Story, Change Your Life.
Okay.
And so I teach you some tools to shift, to clear those money blocks, and to manifest the life you really want. And then I have a bonus called this 7-step formula to manifest more miracles, money, and love that I was just downloaded. That if you follow these steps, you will manifest what you really desire. And if you're not getting what you want, you can look at those steps and find, what do I need to tweak? What do I need to get a little better at?
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Thank you, Tera. I'm going to go get it too. I will. Absolutely. Go get it. Everybody, go get it. In fact, you should see that as a link on the screen. Probably you're looking at right now, but maybe not. Well, it'll be there though. Okay. All right, Tera. Thank you so much for being with me today. I did not get through half of the questions I have prepared, but I still think you gave amazing information. It was just that there's so much more. We'll have to do it again. Do a part 2.
Thanks, Summer. It's been awesome to be here.
Thank you. All right, Tera. Bye-bye.
Bye.